With San Diego Comic-Con coming up within a week or so, basically around the time of my birthday, a lot of people have been speculating as to what kind of announcements, we may be getting at San Diego Comic-Con as far as movies and shows and stuff are concerned. And, I've heard what a lot of people like Cosmic Wonder and a few others have kind of speculated and theorized and pretty much, in their opinion, confirmed will be announced, maybe even teased and acknowledged. Well, I've decided here that I'm going to basically talk about at least 6, not 5, but 6, I guess you can say announcements we can expect, not confirm, but expect to be announced at San Diego Comic-Con, thanks to the individual panels in which they will be associated with. So with that said, here are my top 6. Well, not top 6, but the 6 I see being expected to be announced. The first one I expect to be announced is My Little Pony Make Your Mark, the series. We know it's coming in September, and I expect not only an announcement to confirm its debut, but I also expect to see a trailer. That's right. They got a panel upcoming, so I expect during that panel that we're going to get a trailer for the new series, maybe with an upgrade in animation to give us a bit more of an idea of what to expect, especially after seeing the cliffhanger ending, if you will, of the special of the same name. So I expect that. I expect some confirmation of whether or not the comics this time will kind of tie in, to the series, or if the series will take inspiration from the comics. And I expect more information to be given as to what the whole story will be about when it comes to the Make Your Mark series and the comic series itself, and G5's connection to G4. And this is probably just throwing it out there, but I'm also expecting, a bit of speculation, but expecting maybe we'll get an announcement of a crossover eventually between Gen 4 and Gen 5 in the coming year or so. Not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past the MLP Hasbro panel to make that little announcement at the end, because they like to do that. A lot of panels at these kind of conventions like to do that. So I would not be surprised if we get sort of a tease of a potential crossover between Generation 5 and Generation 4. Not saying it's going to happen, but again, this is something that a lot of panels, MLP in particular in the past, loves to pull on us when you least expect it. But again, I do expect a trailer to be shown for the series. I expect a bit of an upgrade in animation to be seen in that trailer. I expect more of a synopsis of what the whole story is going to be about between the comics and the show. I expect, confirmation of whether or not the show is taking inspiration from the comics and they kind of bounce off each other. I expect all of that, and potentially a little tease maybe of a crossover in the future. But again, that's mere speculation. That last thing's kind of like a throwing it out there for the surprises that they like to give us. But everything else I do expect to be announced with the MLP panel. Again, I expect a trailer. I expect more synopsis, on what the show, on what the series is going to be about. I expect more information on whether or not it's going to take inspiration from the comics, and the comics and the show are going to bounce off each other. And again, potentially just throwing it out to a potential tease at a crossover if they are going to eventually make that happen. I also expect a little bit more information on Tell Your Tale. Again, just like I said with the comics, maybe confirmation of the connection that Tell Your Tale and Make Your Mark, the special and the series, have had as one cohesive continuity. But we'll see. We will see what happens, but like I said, I do expect more confirmation on not just, this date, the official date of it debuting in September on Netflix, but I do expect a trailer with showing us a bit of an upgrade in the animation, more info on the synopsis of the story, whether or not the comics, it's going to take inspiration from the comics, they're going to bounce off each other, as well as I expect confirmation of Tell Your Tale and Make Your Mark, the special and the series, kind of interconnecting, intercoursing with each other to tell one story, and potentially at the end, a big surprise that nobody expects coming. I would not put it past them to give us a tease, an announcement of a potential, a tease announcement, if you will, of a potential crossover between Generation 5 and Gen 4. I wouldn't put it past them. But that's just one announcement I expect to happen when it comes to the MLP panel. Alright, another announcement I expect to happen is Sonic. Now, I don't know how much of a presence Sonic will have there, but I'm pretty sure IDW, they're going to have a presence, so by extension, Sonic will have a presence. And I expect here at this convention that we're going to finally, because we've been seeing little animation clips here and there, little screenshots, that just like I mentioned with the previous announcement I expect to be made, I expect us to get an announcement, not an announcement, but a trailer finally shown for Sonic Prime. Give us a bit of an idea of what we're in store for, show us what characters besides Sonic and Eggman and even Big that we're going to potentially see. Give us maybe a clue of characters, we're hoping to see potentially showing up, as well as give us a more in-depth synopsis of what we already know on what the story will be about, as well as give us a date for when it will debut on Netflix. Apparently it's going to debut in the fall, but we don't know when it's going to be. Hopefully at San Diego Comic-Con we will get an announcement of its debut date, of its drop date on Netflix, as well as we will get a trailer showing us more of what the show is going to be about. Like I said, who else is going to be involved besides Sonic, Eggman, and even Big, as well as potentially give us an idea that maybe there'll be more than just the characters we know of showing up being part of this, like certain characters from other interpretations of Sonic, like let's say the SatAM show, Underground, who knows. But I do expect us to get a trailer as well as a drop date officially announced at San Diego Comic-Con when it comes to Sonic Prime. As far as the IDW books go, I expect them to talk more about those, kind of indicate that they are officially on the road to the 100th issue, not 75 but 100. That's going to happen. I expect them to give us an announcement of maybe, courtesy of Ian Flynn and Evan Stanley, maybe give us an announcement of what the next major story arc might be. And if I'm Ian Flynn, I expect him to at least give us some semi-confirmation that yes, the Freedom Fighters will show up in the book starting in 2023, because that, believe it or not, that officially marks 30 years since they debuted on the show and officially in the Archie books. I know people might say, well, they debuted in 92. Yeah, they did. But here's the thing, that was the miniseries to kind of launch the book. And now when you look at 2023 and 1993, when the book officially debuted, that kind of, marks the official 30 years. Not just, because many people don't count miniseries, because they don't know if the book will be picked up or not. So everybody's going to look at 1993 to 2023 as 30 years. And I would expect, if I'm Ian Flynn, to make the announcement that they will show up finally in the IDW book to tie into the 30th anniversary of Sonic SatAM and the Archie Sonic book as a whole. And speaking of Archie Sonic, I do expect IDW to make the announcement make the announcement that they've made a deal with Archie Comics and those that were involved in the book, with the book, including Ian Flynn, and starting maybe next year, start distributing collector trade backs or start distributing collector's editions, collector novels, trade paperbacks of all the issues throughout the history of the Archie run of Sonic, just like they did with TMNT Adventures when that was under the Archie book as well. So I expect those announcements to be made. Again, I expect a trailer to be dropped or to be showcased. I expect an official date to be dropped of when it's going to debut on Netflix. I expect that, with the trailer as well as talking about it, they'll give us a clue as to who else is going to show up there besides, Big, Sonic, Eggman, Amy, Tails, different incarnations of them. But also potentially tell us that there might be some other characters from other Sonic franchises that interpretations that might show up, like the Freedom Fighters or Sat AM, Underground, you name it. I also expect them to talk about IDW Sonic and how they're on the road to issue 100, and that Ian, as well as have Ian Flynn hopefully make a similar announcement that starting in 2023 to celebrate and coincide with the 30th anniversary of the cartoon and of the official debut of the Archie book, that in 2023 we are going to see the debut of the Freedom Fighters in the IDW books somehow, in some capacity, as well as that IDW hopefully has made some kind of deal, worked out some kind of deal to get all the issues of the Archie Sonic run eventually collected together into collector trade backs, just like they did with the TMNT Adventures, to distribute on shelves and online in the near future. But that's just what I expect from Sonic. I also expect them to touch upon Sonic 3 a little bit as well. I'm sure that's going to be more in the Paramount area, but I expect a little bit of it for them to touch upon Sonic 3 a little bit as well, and potentially confirm, besides Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and even Shadow, who else could show up in the movie from within the game. I expect them to at least confirm maybe Amy's appearance, because I know that outside of Sally, which I'll tell you this, if they announce Sally showing up, that will blow the roof off whatever hall that panel's in. But more than likely, as much as I hate to say it, it'll probably be Amy, but we'll see. But I do expect them to touch upon a little bit on Sonic 3, and that's about it. But that's what I expect out of the Sonic announcements coming from San Diego Comic-Con. Alright, speaking of announcements, number 3, I expect more information on Transformers, the new movie coming out. I expect them to, I think, what is it called? Rise of the Beast or something like that. I expect them to talk about that. I expect a trailer to be dropped, a teaser trailer for the new Transformers film to be dropped. I expect that to occur. I expect information on who the new publisher will be for the Transformers books. I expect confirmation on that. I expect, I guess you could say a revelation of some new figures coming as well. As a matter of fact, I expect us to potentially, and this is just me, potentially get the announcement that there will be a mass distribution, if you will, of the Unicron figure that came out early and throughout last year and somewhat of this year. I expect that announcement to be made, the distributing of that figure. I think that if they do that, they'll save that for last. I also expect maybe some new announcements for Studio Series figures, especially tying into the 86 movie. I expect them to go there. I also expect them to potentially, and I've got a feeling they're going to go this direction, they're going to make the announcement of a reissuing of Pal Master Optimus Prime. I expect that, but I expect them to announce it with the fact that the reissuing is also going to be based more on what we got in Japan with God Geiger and all that. So, everything like Michael Mercy and Optibonomus and Bulk Matrix is showed off in the past. That they've gotten through buying and importing it from Japan. I think Hasbro is going to be make the announcement that we're going to get a reissuing of Power Master Prime, but with the armor and everything from the Japanese release and reissue from over 30 years ago, over 30-something years, 35 years ago and such. I expect that to happen. I expect the announcement there to be made. I also expect the fact that we're going to get the announcement of a new Transformers animated series. I think that's been talked about and rumored. So I expect that to be confirmed. Maybe even a teaser with a title and everything for it. I expect that to go down. I was just scratching my beard there. I do apologize. And yeah, that's about it. So I expect us to get a teaser trailer for the new movie. I expect the announcement of some new figures, so to tie in with the Studio Series 86 line for the movie, as well as I expect an announcement of a reissuing of Power Master Optimus Prime, but with the added accessories of the Japanese version here in the U.S. I expect the announcement of mass distribution of the Unicron figure that was being funded and everything to become a reality, which was successful. So I expect them to make that announcement, as well as I expect them to announce who the new publisher of the Transformers comics will be, as well as the announcement of a new Transformers animated series as well. So that's what I expect when it comes to the Transformers panel. Alright, so let's talk about the Warner Brothers Discovery panel. I know a lot of things are going to get touched upon here, and I expect them to make several official announcements. Not official, but okay, let me correct myself. Okay, what I meant to say is I expect them to make a lot of announcements that have been rumored official, kind of confirm them. So I expect them to announce some new DC projects for theatrical release and for HBO Max. I expect that. I expect us to get some more trailers, full-on trailers, not teasers, for some of the movies coming out, like Aquaman's new movie. Believe it or not, I expect them to show us a trailer on The Flash, even though they say it's not going to be talked about there. I expect us to get a trailer. I expect us to see our first teaser trailer of Batgirl. I expect that. I expect us to get our first, at least, title teaser of the Blue Beetle movie. I expect that to go down. I expect confirmation on some series continuing on the CW, but soon to transfer over to HBO Max. I expect those. I expect new season announcements for Doom Patrol and such, as well as Peacemaker. We know that's happening. So I expect all those to be announced. I expect us to get more footage on Black Adam. I expect maybe a confirmation of a connection with, Zac Efron's, I think that's his name, Zac Efron's a Shazam character and Henry Cavill's a Superman character. I expect that. I also, and I was just opening something there for a second, just checking something. But I also expect us maybe to get confirmation of the next Wonder Woman movie. I think we'll get information on that. Maybe even a teaser title. As well as we'll hopefully get a trailer of the new Tiny Toon series, confirmation of Looniversity of when it's debuting this year on Cartoon Network and HBO Max. I expect that to be shown. I expect them to touch upon Bugs Bunny Builders. I expect that. I definitely expect them to plug a lot of Cartoonito. That's a preschool block for the younger kids. I expect them to, I wouldn't say give a huge presentation, but I expect them to give a big enough spotlight to AEW. maybe make the announcement that they've renewed the contracts, and that there's going to be more to come. As far as comics go, I expect them to announce, some new upcoming comic book events, that's going to be sprawled throughout all different issues of some of the major books, like mostly Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. I expect them to announce events that are going to tie in with those and other comics associated with them. Major events, that is. And really, that's about it. That's about it. I also expect maybe the announcement for a third season of Animaniacs. So those are just things I expect coming out of the Warner Brothers Discovery camp and panel at Comic-Con. Now, as far as Universal goes, I expect them to have a presence at Comic-Con as well. Comcast Xfinity, if you will. I expect them to have a presence. Universal, I would expect this is just me, I think they're going to announce, much to maybe a lot of people's chagrin, that they, just like I mentioned with Warner Brothers Discovery, I think they too, to counter that, or be prepared for that, are going to announce that just like Warner Brothers Discovery is going to, I'm expecting to announce the extension, renewal of the contract between them and AEW. I expect Universal, and maybe even Fox, but mostly Universal here, to counter that by saying they've renewed WWE's contract for Monday Night Raw. That's what I expect to be announced there. I don't expect them, as much as a lot of us would like it, I don't expect them to also announce that they're going to cut back down to 2 hours for Raw. I expect them to keep it at 3. But this is what I'm going to guess is going to happen, that even though they'll keep it at 3, they make the announcement that on occasions they will, reduce it back to 2 just in case, because of certain, events and stuff that's beyond their control. So I expect the announcement of renewing WWE's contract for another few years, along with the fact that they're going to keep it 3 hours, but on occasions they'll reduce Raw to 2 hours, due to certain special events. I also expect them from a streaming television platform situation to make the announcement that there are going to be several animated series coming based on some movies. Like, I think a lot of us are expecting, the Minions to finally get a show. I mean, even though they've had little shorts here and there, we expect them to get a full-length show. And if the rise of Gru, I should say, is any indication, then I expect them to make the announcement that we're going to get a Rise of Gru series, or something around that's going to center around Gru in the Minions in the early years of his villainy. I expect us to get a Bad Guys animated series announced. I just, because like I said before in the video, I just feel it's one of those shows that, really screams, series follow-up. So I'm definitely going to go with that. That we're going to get a Bad Guys series. I think they're going to make that announcement. Where that lands is anybody's guess, but I'm assuming it will land on Peacock. As far as maybe new original series for future distribution across platforms and networks, I know it's crazy to sound, but I've always been noticing that we're in this trend now to where, as I said before in one video, it seems that weird and unusual is like the new norm. So I'm expecting Universal to make an announcement of a new animated series, either aimed at kids, aimed at entire families, or aimed at adults, one of the two, focusing on a female character with, I guess you could say, shape-shifting like powers that mostly, to where she mostly, turns into not just anybody she wants, but basically can melt down into a puddle, shapeshift into a vehicle, shapeshift into an inanimate object, into clothing, stuff like that. I expect them to make the announcement of a series focusing on, a female character, in my opinion. Again, I say this with no offense, I say this with no offense and all due respect. I see them making that kind of an announcement for the show, for future distribution on their streaming service like Peacock and on some networks as well. Whether or not it's going to be a all family show, whether it's going to be something aimed at younger kids, or it's going to be an adult show. I can tell you if it's an adult animated show, I can see a lot of what I said happening, if not more so, if you catch my drift. So, I expect them to make that announcement. What the title of the show would be, I do not know, but I do expect them to make that announcement. I also expect them to touch upon a revitalization of the Monsterverse, the Universal Monsterverse, with the possible announcement of some new movies coming out based around Dracula, because I think they're working on that, as well as Frankenstein and the Wolfman and the Invisible Man and Woman. I expect those to be at least acknowledged through titles being showcased on the screen. And I also expect us to get a trailer, a teaser trailer at least, for the new Mario Brothers movie, along with an official title, which I think is going to be Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario Brothers World. But I expect us to, like I say, get a teaser trailer as well as a official title for the movie itself. But yeah, that's what I expect out of the Universal panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Alright, last but not least, let's talk about Marvel and Disney. Disney, I would say that, I expect us to get more of an announcement of the Darkwing Duck project with Seth Rogen. I also expect us to potentially get the announcement of a sequel to the Rescue Ranger movie, as well as maybe a new Rescue Ranger show because of the success of the first movie. I expect more information on whether or not, even though the shows are officially ending, whether or not we'll get more continuations, more adventures, like in movie-style situations on Disney Plus and Disney Channel, of the Owl House, of Amphibia, even though it ended. I expect more to come out of that. As well as, what else is there? Amphibia, Owl House, The Ghost, and McGee and Mr. Ghost, or whatever that show is called. I expect us to get those kind of announcements very soon. As far as like new seasons, like The Ghost and like McGee and Mr. Ghost, or whatever his name is, I expect maybe a new season out of that. If not, maybe a movie planned for it, some specials as well. And then, like I say, with Owl House and Amphibia, I expect announcements of specials, follow-up specials, and everything to be tying into those, as well as I expect, believe it or not, the announcement for a Gravity Falls movie. That's right, I expect a Gravity Falls movie to be announced for a show, for a distribution on Disney Plus and Disney Channel. I expect that to happen. And I also expect us to maybe get confirmation of a new Mickey Mouse project. Maybe this is just throwing it out there. Maybe we'll get a teaser of Mickey finally marrying Minnie, especially now that we know the copyright for the original Mickey Mouse back in the 20s is coming up. Maybe Disney's going to be like, hey, we need to do something. And maybe we might get that announcement finally. Who knows? And maybe we'll get, along with it, the announcement of a new Mickey Mouse movie for theatrical release. We'll see. I expect us to get more information on Disney's Strange Worlds movie, probably a new trailer with the tie into that, as well as some trailers, teaser trailers, concept trailers, titles of other future products other future projects, I should say, that have been announced, confirmed. I expect Disney to show more on that, to give more information on that. Not everything, because I'm sure they want to save a lot more for D23. But then we get to Marvel. And with Marvel, I expect them to really not go, I don't expect them to go all out. Because like I said, with some of this other stuff, they're going to want to save some things for Disney, for D23. But I do expect them to at least give us a timetable finally, basically confirm and then further this confirmation at D23, I expect them to confirm, what direction we're going in. What movie is going to lead us into that direction that Feige is talking about. I expect that to be announced, and basically I expect us to get that traditional roadmap that we've seen before from a yearly basis as to what movies and shows are going to help us build to the next big Avengers-like film, and what that film would be, which a lot of people have pretty much confirmed, and I think Feige has kind of confirmed it, let it slip a little bit. It's going to be Secret Wars. So I expect that most definitely to be announced. Again, I expect that to be confirmed and announced and further confirmed at D23, possibly with more information there, but I do expect that to be dropped. Like I said, with the traditional roadmap from a yearly perspective of what movies and shows are going to lead us to that next event and such. So I expect that to happen along with, like I said, potentially some sizzler reels and teaser title trailers for the upcoming films. I expect that. So I expect Disney from a Marvel perspective to, really show up and, like I say, confirm a lot of stuff, announce some new stuff that's coming, but hold back on, a lot of the information on some of the stuff they're confirming and some of the new stuff they're going to be announcing, for D23 as well. But I do expect us to, like I say, get that roadmap finally and confirmation of where we're heading towards as we build to the next Avengers-like movie. So I expect that all to happen. Like I said, I expect some new Marvel MCU projects to be announced and confirmed. So, I expect a lot of these things to go down at San Diego Comic-Con. But again, like I said, I think what's going to happen is they're going to confirm some of the things that we've been speculating about and wondering about. They're going to confirm it. They're going to give us that map. They're going to make some new announcements of new MCU projects, but they're going to hold off on giving us a lot more information until at least D23. So I expect that to go down in the at San Diego Comic-Con and everything. So yeah, I expect a lot to happen. So do not be surprised whatsoever what gets revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. And don't be surprised, like I said, we'll get our first look, sizzle reel-wise teaser trailer-wise at Wakanda Forever. Do not be surprised if we get a teaser trailer for the new X-Men 97 series and more confirmation on what that's about. Basically, hopefully confirmation that it is going to be a continuation of the original series. As well as don't be surprised that along with that, we might get the announcement of an X-Men film. Remember, when they made the announcement a couple years ago that, Fantastic Four was coming, they left that, towards the end. They were showing this, big montage of all these projects that were happening, all these movies and series that were happening. And the last one that came up was Fantastic Four. So do not be surprised if they do something similar here at San Diego Comic-Con and then further confirm it at D23 that not only are we going to get that X-Men 97 animated series and we see the teaser trailer for it and confirmation of what it's about, but don't be surprised if we also get the announcement, either after that or after basically that running montage of all these projects that are coming and that have been announced and all that. Do not be surprised if the last thing they show is X-Men's logo confirming that yes, we are getting an X-Men film. Do not be surprised by that. But again, I expect all that to happen, the roadmap to be shown, basically giving us a better idea and direction of where they're heading. But I also expect them to hold off on a lot more. What I'm trying to say is I expect them to hold off on some information, to save it for D23. That's just my opinion. Last but not least, I expect us to also get a new trailer, as well as maybe a clip shown from the new Avatar movie. So I expect that to happen as well. But yeah, that's what I expect from Disney and Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con. overall, these are just, what I'm expecting. I could be wrong on them. I know it sounds like I'm speculating too, but with all the information and news that's come out through all these different avenues throughout the past, several months and year, with this being the first in-person, majorly in-person San Diego Comic-Con in quite some time, I expect, because I don't think San Diego Comic-Con was in person last year, right? Because it was, still kind of COVID-wise. They were still going through the COVID deal. So this is the first major one in person, if you will, in quite some time. And I expect all these panels that I talked about, they're going to focus on everything that I've mentioned, to come out with a bang, to come out with banger announcements, banger revelations, trailers, title trailers, and everything from top to bottom. I expect them to all bring their A game at San Diego Comic-Con, and Disney, I expect them to do that, but also save a bit of that A game for D23 as well. But what do you guys think? Which one of these that I've mentioned do you think is the more looked forward to and more anticipated of the panels, and who do you think out of these 6 panels is going to win out when it's all said and done at San Diego Comic-Con this year? Let me know down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Also check me out at my Teespring store. Also check me out at BW Roses at Patreon. Also at BW Roses 98 on Cash App. Brian-Walmer2. Oh, not 2, but Brian-Walmer-2 at Venmo. Also check me out at TikTok at BW Roses. And yeah, check me out at all your favorite podcast locations except for Pandora at BW Roses Discussions. And yeah, that's about it. Live chat will be open during this. Super chats and super stickers will be open and available and would be appreciated, especially nowadays, because financially I'm not doing so well. And I would love some support if you guys can do it. In any of the avenues I just mentioned, Venmo, Cash App, also super thanks will be enabled after the premiere as well. But guys, give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on, which one of these panels is going to come out on top, is going to grab that, grab that coveted momentum, everybody's talking about it kind of deal. And do you agree they're going to have to bring their A game, since this is the first major in-person San Diego Comic-Con in a while? Let me know down below and in the live chat, and I am out.